What's up guys, 2-Bit Jesus here, and happy May the 4th be with you. One of my favorite times of the year where personally I get to pick out a Star Wars game and review it for you guys. And I'm continuing something I started a few years back by reviewing Factor 5's Rogue Squadron series. And this year we are taking a look at Rogue Leader, the sequel to Rogue Squadron. Let's jump right in. Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader is an arcade-style shooter developed by Factor 5 and published by Lucasarts. It was released in the fall of 2001 as a launch title for the Nintendo GameCube in the North American market. It is clear from my previous review that Nintendo, LucasArts, and Factor 5 had a close relationship as they had released several exclusives for the N64. So naturally, this continued into the next gen of gaming with Rogue Leader. Nintendo approached Factor 5 about a new title for the GameCube. Once they received a prototype GameCube, Factor 5 began work on Rogue Leader. Keep in mind, during this time, they were still working on Battle for Naboo. When the bigwigs at LucasArts gave the full go-ahead for this new project, Factor 5 was able to make a demo for a Nintendo event. The demo was a hit and turned heads and brought pressure on Factor 5. Before they could start work on Rogue Leader in full, they had to finish Battle for Naboo and the Indiana Jones Infernal Machine N64 port. Factor 5 also dealt with pressure from LucasArts. See, LucasArts had a team working on Star Wars Starfighter, and this team was unaware of Rogue Leader, till they revealed it at the Nintendo event. The Starfighter team protested for the development of Rogue Leader to stop, as they feared their title would be upstaged by the already established Rogue Squadron franchise. There was also pressure from Microsoft as they started offering incentives to bring Rogue Leader over to their new console, the Xbox. Other development pitfalls came from the early prototype GameCube Factor 5 had received from Nintendo. See, even back in 2000, the Big N was toying with motion controls, and Factor 5 was using it in Rogue Leader, only to be told by Nintendo that it would not be in their final version of the console, so Factor 5 had to get rid of that gameplay aspect. Development for Rogue Leader began in earnest at the beginning of 2001 and had the simultaneous release window with the GameCube in the fall of 2001. This gave the development team a limited time to finish the game and resulted in the shitty industry standard of crunch that has people working 6 to 7 days a week for long hours and no real compensation. Shitty practice, anti-worker bullcrap that needs to stop. Factor 5 played a hand in the development of the GameCube's audio hardware. This allowed for seamless blending between streamed and real-time music, making the music dynamic and further immersing the player into the game. Late in the development, the team added 5-channel surround sound to the game with Dolby Pro Logic 2. Rogue Leader was the first game on any platform to use this. Well, with these tidbits done, let's jump into the cockpit once again in this review. Controls, like the previous installments, are solid and, in fact, improved. The handling on the ships feels natural this time around, with no stiffness. The entire roster of ships from Rogue Squadron make their way back. You have the balanced fighter, the X-Wing, the fast fighter, the A-Wing, the tough but slow Y-Wing, and Snowspeeder. There is a new fighter added to the game, the B-Wing, which is oddly shaped and frankly, I did not like the way it handled most of the time. I'm an X-Wing guy unless the mission calls for me to use another craft specifically. You get to use other ships too, like in previous games. You can use the Falcon or Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, and these are accessible in hidden levels. The enemy craft are all the same from the first game. You get your walkers, TIE Fighters, TIE Bombers, etc, etc, etc. They give you a lot of shit to shoot out of the sky and space. You have wingmen that you can give orders to, but I mostly had them stick with me to be my meat shields for my craft, as the AI just aimlessly flies around when you give them an order, like taking ties out. they aren't really good at any of it, and while enemy AI is improved, your allies are still stuck in the old game's level of AI performance. The objectives and level design have also carried over from the previous title, but improved. Objectives will once again having you take out an X number of enemies, buildings, sneak around enemy radar, or defend an objective from waves of enemies, and sometimes you will be timed on it. What is improved is the pacing of these objectives. For the most part, levels don't feel like a slog to get through or impossible to beat because an ally you have to defend is getting killed every 5 seconds. I say this with the exception being the final level of the game, where Lando kept going down in a blaze of glory on the second Death Star. Levels are big and expansive for the most part, but can sometimes throw a cramped claustrophobic trench run at you. You are once again graded by 3 levels: gold, silver, bronze. The better and faster you perform in a level, the higher the grade you get. Rogue Leader is an easy game to pick up, but hard to master, so you will be retrying levels and going back to find hidden features, making the replayability high with this one. Factor 5 may not have reinvented the wheel with this one, but they took what was great about the first title and put it on steroids, while at the same time tweaking and improving what the previous title did wrong. You can't ask for more than that from a sequel. 3 bits.
I'd buy that for $1.
Out of 4. Dudes, dudettes, and my non-binary comrades, we have been through this for several years. Lucasarts is the GOAT when it comes to sound in game design. Everything is here, all the music from John Williams, the sound effects from the movies, the entire Star Wars Audible universe is in this game. Voice acting is solid in this title. As we all know, voice acting could still be hit or miss in the 6th gen of gaming. The original actor, Dennis Lawson, also Obi-Wan / Ewan McGregor's uncle, reprises his role as Wedge Antilles for this game. The theme music from the first game makes its return, but has been remixed. Further reading up on this title's production, hey, thank you magazines from the early aughts, the soundtrack is half and half John Williams and Factor 5's own in-house music. Factor 5 also went to Lucasfilm to get all the sound effects from the original trilogy to make Rogue Leader's sound pitch perfect. I give this game's sound a very rare 4 bits.
I'd buy that for $1.
Out of 4. This game still looks beautiful to me. The worlds, ships, and space all look great. I would love to see a remaster of this title just so I could see it in full HD. I'm sure it would look even better than it already looks right now. Now, I'm not saying it could go toe-to-toe visually with modern titles, but I am saying that for the 6th gen, this is one title that is the cream of the crop and still holds up today. If you compare this game to the previous title, you can really see the jump in visual presentation. Everything is a leap over the last installment. Particles, textures, and draw distance have been vastly improved. The story is bare bones. You play Luke and then Wedge, and the missions center around major events from the movies. The beginning has you do the trench run from A New Hope, then you go into a mission that centers around the after effects of that event. We then move on to the build-up to the Battle of Hoth, then to the Battle of Hoth, then to the build-up to the second Death Star battle, then finally the second Death Star battle and the defeat of the Empire. While visually pleasing, the story leaves much to be desired, as I was attached to the characters and world not because of what the game was offering, but because of my attachment to the original movies. That said, the game does deliver on putting the player inside the Star Wars universe and letting you play around in it and its major events for a while. And that's all this title really needs to do. I give it 3 bits.
I'd buy that for $1.
Out of 4. Man oh man, Rogue Leader took what was good in Rogue Squadron and just took it to that next level. To me, this is just head and shoulders better than the original. It was awesome. Though that being said, for a future review, it doesn't quite reach the max level yet, and we're just gonna have to wait for the next review for me to get into that a little bit. Suffice to say, my final verdict for Rogue Leader on the Nintendo GameCube is a recommended buy actual buy for the casual and hardcore collector. You're going to get this game, you're going to play it, you're going to enjoy it. Now, granted, it does have its, shortcomings, but it's still a good game, an almost great game. And you can find it for around $11 to $18 online, depending on its condition. In my opinion, that is worth its weight in gold. For that price, it's a great game. Highly recommend it. And that closes this May the 4th Be With You review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit that like button if you did. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ding the bell. What's taking you so long? Go do it. And when you ding that bell, you won't miss a thing we are doing. So guys, that's it. May the Force be with you. And as always, stay safe and play on.